Like on a movie or in a TV show or comedy or something, when they portray a funeral director, they're like a white man, really awkward and kind of mildly creepy. And it's not how it is at all. My name's Kimberly, and I wear many hats. So I'm a funeral director, I'm an embalmer, I'm a location manager for 2 funeral homes. I'm a mentor to mortuary science students, and I am president of Orange County Funeral Directors Association. I was dating this guy at the time, and he said, I know you've always been interested in doing, forensic pathology or anthropology or archaeology. And he goes, why have you never thought about being an embalmer? And I was like, the clouds parted and everything was just like my entire world made sense. I was just really fascinated by death. I think I can tie that back to my mom lost her mom, her dad, her brother, and an unborn brother, all in one accident. When we were growing up, they talked about that quite often. It's jarring when you learn about people die when you're that young. Just to know that there was an end to all this, it was really fascinating. With the embalming aspect of it, I love the transformation, and it can never really be described unless you actually do it, but to see someone when they're deceased to unembalmed to being embalmed, it's such a huge transformation. Okay, so let's see what's in here. When the next of kin authorizes embalming, we'll pull the decedent, if they're in refrigeration, we'll pull them out for a few hours to try to come up to room temperature. That's going to help us with distribution and drainage when the blood is not so cold. We do a pre-embalming analysis, so we know exactly what their condition was before embalming, and then we create a plan of what chemicals and what instruments we're going to be using, and then get our table set up. So for topical disinfection, we'll use disinfection spray called Disc Spray, and cotton, or we call this prep towel. You'll just take little strips off like this, wet it with the disinfectant spray, and then use one of your forceps to get real deep into the nasal cavities to clean. After everything is disinfected and clean, we're able to start raising our first artery, and that's the carotid. So we make an incision about 1 inch right here above the clavicle, and then use aneurysm hooks to reach down and pull up the carotid artery. And then with a scalpel, make a small incision into the carotid. It's hollow. And then insert your injector tube right into the carotid artery. And then you'll set your tank to start the flow. So your tank is now your heart. Their eyes are mostly water, and that's gonna start to dehydrate and dip down. And this helps keep them closed. That's gonna keep the shape of when you're looking at someone. When you see in the movie someone walks over and they do this, it never happens. It's fantasy. Especially for people that have been hospitalized for a long time, or they're in an accident, or their body's just gone through a lot of trauma. Bringing techniques into place so that at the end of it, they're looking as best as they can for their viewing is really rewarding. And taking the time to care for them, it's a compassionate job. The pandemic was I can't even explain in words. I've never seen so many people dying on a daily basis. It was really hard to hear these people's stories that they were being turned away from funeral homes that just didn't have any space to place anybody anymore. The condition in which people were being viewed was not the normal condition that we would have people viewing in, but they're needing to have their goodbyes. I just know, families are experiencing odors, and they're seeing discoloration, and they're seeing mold and stuff that they should not be seeing, but that they're so desperate to say goodbye. Oh, it was just really tough time. The funeral process is so important to facilitating that grief, and for the families not to have a choice. We'll never get over that. when I get home, I sit in my driveway. I never really realized I was doing it until like my husband called me out. And so he finally one day, he's like, babe, can you just like come in when you get home and don't sit in the driveway because the dog goes crazy. And I was like, no, I can't. But I sit in the driveway because I have to decompress and I don't want to bring it home with me. My attention is always so pulled in so many different directions. So even when I'm at home, I'm still working. And that's not fair to my husband or when I'm out with family or friends. The best I can do is free up like the space in my head and my heart for when I walk in. That like, I try not to be funeral director Kim, I just be Kim. Dragon! Did you grab sponge, babe?
I did.
Did you grab paper towels?
Yes. Are you just going just to help?
Well, because she's already an employee. She manages a mortuary in Culver City. I think her transition date will be in like 2 weeks.
That's crazy.
We have a group of morticians. We get together on Thursday nights and just hang out, have dinner together, and we're all able to vent.
I'll have to figure out the gingerbread party too.
Oh yes, we definitely do.
Oh yeah.
With the shake table.
Yeah.
I have to make it to that one.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
You know, it's like we're all kind of going through the same thing and we all can absolutely empathize with each other, but if we don't give people that opportunity to share, they won't know, that they're not alone in what they're feeling. So, yeah.
Thank God, like we have these connections because I just go like to Liz and cry or vice versa or with Kim too.
So over the past 15 years, the industry has definitely changed. But we're a really interesting transition right now because there's a lot of retirements happening. The older generation is stepping out and the newer generation stepping in. And the older generation are primarily men, and 80% of students in mortuary science are female and young, usually between 20s and 30s. We're very much involved on campus at Cypress College in the mortuary program. We know that that is integral to our growth and sustaining as an association.
So this is our 4th annual fundraiser for our Cypress College Mortuary Science Scholarships. All the money that we raise tonight will go directly to students who need it the most.
To have the students know who we are so that we can target up and coming leaders, that's also rewarding. And I love to be able to give back like that. There's a lot of things going on that maybe more women are drawn to, or people just in general who are creative. Every day is different. You're not having the same routine. You're able to do art back in the embalming room, and you're able to learn about people and get that interest in their life stories and their family history. But the bottom line is just that it's a caring and creative job.
Have you thought about like what type of funeral or like party do you
Oh, okay.
cremated?
I think if I'm a good looking corpse, definitely view me. But if I'm like, I don't look good, just please don't. I want a bagel bar. I love brunch and bagels and lox, and so I want like full bagel bar, like with all the toppings.